fantastic card for Gratz.
Sure is.
Gives him an open ender. Esfandiari can't really like the texture of this board here. I think he needs to bet enough to not allow the river to come. In other words, he needs to push Gratz off this hand now.
He's going to take another look, make sure the aces are still there.
60,000 in the pot. He's pushing in.
Yep. Now Gratz has a real decision.
Antonio had just enough left, 115,000 left, to make a drawing hand a little too expensive. And I know Esfandiari right now, when you're holding aces and you make that kind of play, as long as the guy doesn't call you immediately and beat you in the pot, you feel pretty good. There's just that split second where you're wondering, okay, am I going to get called instantaneously? And because he wasn't now, Esfandiari loves his hand and...
I call.
Whoa!
He called!
Gratz must have thought Esfandiari was just on a stone-cold bluff, because he's certainly not getting a good price here. Mike Gratz will need a 9, 10, or one of the two remaining aces.
So all he can do is hope. Decided underdog here to Esfandiari. It's a queen. That will not do it. Esfandiari will double up.
And that's a huge pot, 290,000.
Sometimes, you know.
Gutsy call from Michael Gratz. It did not pay off for him. Esfandiari will take this one down, double up. And he's right back in the fray now. Little bonus coverage now as we take you to one of the outer tables where Julian Hoey is all in against Nenad Medic.
And Hoey will need a queen on the river. Medic has aces and sevens. No luck for Hoey. She's in 33rd place.
$12,553 is her payday. We'll take it back to our main table when we come back on the PartyPoker.net Aussie Millions. Welcome back to the Crown Casino. We're here in Melbourne, Australia. This is the PartyPoker.net Aussie Millions. Bonus coverage now once more. Before we get you back to the main table, Dom Italiano is all in against Steve Hone. And Hone's got the goods.
There's nothing sweeter in a no-limit hold'em tournament than to have a guy move all in on you and look down and find those pocket rockets.
Isn't that the truth?
Italiano will need some serious help.
A whole bunch.
One of the two remaining sevens in the deck.
Queen 3 is the flop. Oh, the 3.
Only two sevens in the deck to help Italiano.
Isn't going to happen. Italiano is gone, and Hone will move through. So Dom Italiano will finish in 29th place. Not a bad payday for finishing 29th. And we now take you back to our main table.
The blinds have been raised. Small blinds 2,500, big blind 5,000. Everyone is still anteing 500. 10,500 in the pot before the cards are dealt.
Esfandiari, Queen 4. Back in the chips here.
He's on the button, the superior position, and it looks like he wants to take a stab at stealing the blinds.
14,500. Michael Gratz, who just challenged him, appears that he's going to challenge him again. Calls Esfandiari with an ace-7. 2 to the flop. Pair of kings and a 4. So a good flop for Esfandiari.
And Gratz, checking it to Esfandiari, thinks he has the best hand. He certainly can't put Esfandiari on a straight 4 in his hand. Esfandiari is supposed to have something legitimate. And I expect Gratz to play here.
And he calls.
Yeah, and he only has an ace high, but oh, and look at this.
Oh. And that gives Gratz, as you see, a decided edge.
He checks it over to Esfandiari, perhaps trying for a check raise.
Yeah.
On the other hand, Michael Gratz might be content just to check this hand down and see if his pair of sevens holds up, and it's going to.
That's exactly what happens, and it does hold up, and Gratz will take it down, so Gratz getting a little bit back. Gratz, one of the good young players. Gratz will add to his stack after having lost a good part of it.
And Barry, that little showdown right there is sort of revelatory. It shows the rest of the table that the magician, Esfandiari, is liable to raise with any two cards, particularly in late position. Having to show that raggedy queen four to the table sort of exposes him as a guy who's willing to put his hand in the cookie jar.
Well, he's got a hand to play again here with the king-queen suited. Raised at 14,000, and Bay gets out of the way, and so will Gratz. Kathy Liebert to 6-7. Thorne has an ace, but ace little.
This is very similar to the last hand where the big blind wakes up with an ace in his hand and feels that it's enough to call the late position raise. And ironically, the big blind has the best hand again.
Same deal. 7-10-5 on the flop.
Thorne still leading here.
And a deuce, four spades. Flush draw for Esfandiari.
This is a pretty good spot for Esfandiari to semi-bluff. Well, now that Thorne has led into the pot, surely Esfandiari will want to call.
And
a mere 15,000 to try to make a very big, and he makes it. Esfandiari has the nut flush with his king-queen. Will Thorne bet into a monster hand?
Maybe.
Remember, Thorne has made aces here,
right,
Barry, and he bets 20,000. Well, Esfandiari knows the pot is his. The big question is, how much can he raise to extract maximum value out of Thorne? The ace was a very troublesome card. Thorne's got to feel pretty confident here, but now look at this. Esfandiari raising.
75,000. And now Thorne will take a deep breath, swallow real hard, and what'll he do?
Well, I think Esfandiari may have overbet a little bit here. It's not a terribly too large amount, but, you know, if he would have raised maybe 40, 45,000, Thorne might have been more willing to call. This is a pretty huge raise, almost 4 times the original raise, signaling a lot of confidence in the hand.
Yeah, throws it away. Very good laydown, saved him a whole bunch. And Esfandiari will win the hand, and he did have the goods as well. So Esfandiari adding to his stack, and Thorne, on the other hand, can only sit there and think about wouldas and couldas and shouldas, and it did not work out for him this time. We'll be back.